Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. We're here today with special guest, Ken Elliott, who's here to share with us Creating with Intention, a conversation on art and manifesting. So what if the power to shape your life was already in your hands? What would you do then? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Ken Elliott is a nationally recognized artist, author, and manifesting mentor. In his book, Manifesting 123 and You Don't Need Number 3, Ken reveals a simple, proven process to turn thoughts into reality. No special skills required. Filled with true stories and practical tools, this guide can help you create the life you want. So welcome to the show, Ken Elliott.
Thanks for having me on your show, Marianne. How long have you been doing this show now?
Oh my goodness, since 2016, it's been a minute.
How many interviews you think you've done?
Oh, it's well over 1,000.
My
So
gosh,
I know time flies when you're having fun and talking to people,
it does. You you must be one of those people at the top of the mountain where people come up to ask you questions about all you know. That's a lot of interviews.
It's a lot of interviews, but I'm pretty sure I'm not that person, but we know people like that. People like Judy Goodman and you're one of the people I go to when I have questions.
Well, I have a hut at the bottom of the mountain, put it that way. I sell souvenirs.
Well, dude, I'm so delighted that we get to talk about these two beautiful areas that you work in, the manifesting and your stunning art. Your art is so powerful. I'd love for you to share on that with us.
Well, I'm really passionate about the art. It was something that I didn't draw a lot as a kid, all that sort of thing. I scrawled on the walls a little bit, but when it was time for me to come into being an artist, things just started falling into place. To keep out of the long stories, and before I knew it, I had come in contact with some very good artists. Came in contact with a couple of guys who wanted to start a gallery, got involved with them. And then it tipped over at one point where I decided, I want to be an artist myself. So I bought a little how to draw book, and I had been in the art business for a long time, so I know what it's supposed to look like if it's any good. And off I went. So it's a big learning curve, just like anything else. But lately, lately, maybe 10 years ago or so, when I started, inside that, say 5, 6, 8 years, when I became aware of the idea of manifesting, I did do a movie. Part of the manifesting 1, 2, 3 is that you make a movie where you can visualize your future. Your thoughts can make the future. We'll get into that later. But in my movie, I visualized that I had a lot of large paintings in my studio and they were beautiful. Now, I was careful about this. The paintings just glowed white. So I didn't specify what they looked like, if they were dogs or underwater or mountains or mermaids, whatever it was. And and not long after that, maybe a few months later, I got a call from an art consultant. I hadn't lived in Denver that long. And the art consultant wanted to come over and see what I was painting. And I went downstairs with her to the studio and walked in the studio, and I was shocked because when I looked around the room, what I had manifested was on the walls. It was on the shelf, big paintings that were, good enough to be in galleries or to sell. And it really did choke me up. I had manifested something and I was looking at my future at that very moment. So that was a bit of a thrill. That's manifesting and art combined. And I have a lot of artist friends that I've talked to about this. And when I do a class, I'll usually bring it up in some form or another. And they're not only they get something out of the class, hopefully, but they've seen improvements in their careers from manifesting the sort of thing I was talking about. But it's good for all sorts of things.
Well, I know you as this profound artist and just a highly spiritual gifted teacher as well, that you're teaching all these people how to live, in many ways, how to improve their lives and live a better life. And I'm so fascinated how you've brought so much of this into the art world. When was the first time that you sold a big piece and you're like, I manifested that?
Well, that's when the art consultant and I walked into my studio, and I had, I don't know, 6 or 8 large paintings. So that was a big that was a shock to my system. Hey, this works. I created this. Now, recently, in the last couple of years, I have been doing a thing, um, and again, this is I'll just call it a manifesting shortcut. Um, and I'll jump into this and then I'll come back and explain it. There are times when I say, and I'll tell other people about this, a painting is selling now, or a painting has sold now. And I expect in about 3 or 4 days to hear something about that. I don't overdo it. Why wouldn't I? I should, but I just do it that way. It feels like make believe, feels like monkey business, but I've had too many results off of this, and it's very satisfying to put something out in the field like that and have it happen. But more impressively, it's when people are making changes in their lives. Not so much changes in other people's lives, but in their own field, in their zone. And I should get into what they're doing. Um, I'm very close to William Buhlman. He is an out of body art author, written a number of books on that. And we became very close friends. I did his website and helped him with some unread manuscripts, that kind of thing early on. And one day he told me that sometimes when he's on the other side, that's the non physical realm, it would be like a vivid dream to people, but in his vivid dream, he's completely conscious, and he teaches how to do this on purpose. So sometimes he says, "I'm in this place, and I can see all the things on my wish list." He would make wish lists in various stages of formation, and I've never heard anything like this. So what are you talking about? He said, "Well, um, I might be doing something like, I need the money for a new roof on my house. So I will put it on the wish list that I'm manifesting a new roof. It starts out as a puff of smoke, a vapor. And when he's over there in that non-physical realm, even a vapor, you have a knowledge about what that represents. But as this goes on, he might have a piece of paper in his billfold, it might be written out somewhere, it's stuck to his mirror, whatever it is, he sees it every day. It's just once a day is all it takes. And after continuous repetitive thought on that particular thing about a new roof, then he can see that roof start to take form. It goes from smoke to a roof on a house. And it gets more and more 3D, more and more solid, more and more full color. And that, whatever it is, the means for that roof are going to come over into the physical realm. I've often talked about a van or something like that. People manifest all kinds of things. But you can also manifest more happiness, less stress, better health, those sort of things. And this, I'm not a doctor, this is not a medical show, but your thoughts will make things. That's what thoughts do. So on the positive side, if it is something you're trying to manifest that you would say is a positive, whatever that is, that's great. You stay with it, repeat it, and after every one of those instances about that new roof, I'm very grateful for my new roof. Your thoughts can make the future. Here's an added bonus. So you're manifesting something in your future, and then you declare that you are grateful for it. Your thoughts, since all they do is make things, and this has been proved out to me so many times. We mentioned Judy Goodman. Judy Goodman would take her we'll say she would open the gate for me to send her things. I was such a knucklehead. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing with somebody that was highly gifted. But all the things I sent to her, she got them every time. Now, that's how I learned that thoughts take form, and I send her things in real time. And it's all on the website. It's in my book. You can listen to other interviews that go for an hour or more, and you get more information. I'm giving it all away. You don't have to send me $15 to make this happen. But what I want to emphasize is your thoughts will directly create reality. This is indispensable knowledge. It's simple and basic, and it's been demonstrated to me over and over and over, and in real time with Judy at a distance over 2,000 miles. I manifested a Daffy Duck sitting in a chair, lacking a better idea, just as a demo. And I was pretty shocked when it started to show up. It didn't come into full form in the physical, but she can see in the spirit, and she could watch this thing take form. So, what did I do with that? Nothing. I just played around with it. But it finally hit me one day. This is important. This is terribly important. And I finally moved forward and wrote the book because, as I said, it's indispensable knowledge. So if your thoughts can make anything, and they do, and that's all they do, if you have a repetitive thought that you're not worthy for this job or to get a better one or to pay your bills, this and that, and you repeat that, what's going to happen is your thoughts will create that reality. And I like to use the term, I can't afford to have that happen. I can't afford to get sick. I can't afford to be unhappy. I put a monetary sort of idea on it. It sort of, jars me that way. So that's a good thing for me to hang on to. So I'm very careful about what I say and what I think. Thinking a thought is one thing, and repeating it over and over and over is how it slowly builds from a vapor into a solid physical thing in the non-physical realm, what you would call heavenly realms, those sort of things. And at some point, it will come over to the physical. A woman who really needed a better car, very terrible old car, was manifesting a new car. And unbelievably, we had a horrible hailstorm here in Colorado. I never seen anything like this growing up in Texas. The hail was so big, it made holes in her front and back glass. It looked like it had been shot by a machine gun. I'd never seen that. It made big holes. It didn't just dent it. And it, of course, it tore up the metal on the car. So the insurance company, even though it was a used car, she was able to get one that was much more modern compared to the junker that she had. And I think she was out of pocket something like $600. So it wasn't a valuable car, but it had air conditioning, it had this, it had that. And she was quite happy. So she manifested a new car, and the hailstorm did the deal because she didn't have the money to buy it. It was amazing how that worked out. Um, so what I do is I make movies. If I want to make a trip, have a trip to Paris, I will sit down and imagine that I'm in Paris. I might be at a cafe, and the cars are going by, and I can see the buildings and this and that. And I'm in that movie. It's my future movie, and I'll repeat that, and somehow it will come together. Well, I'll be at that table in Paris. A lot of what I do is I'm just relaxing in my chair, and I'm in my future. I just took a breath in my future. It's an interesting feeling. I'm in my future right now, and in my future, I have perfect health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And I'm so very grateful. So I just did a little manifesting bit right there. But I'm in my chair. I imagine I'm in my future. And then I put out that statement, and I said, I'm so very grateful. The reason I use gratitude is there are two very powerful forces in the universe, and they're positive and negative. One is love and one is fear. So if we are repeating the idea that we can't afford to pay the rent, that's fearful. And your thoughts are turbocharged to make that happen. It's an accelerator. It's an extra engine you put behind it. So Um, First of all, I'm very careful not to say something like that. And I'll do the positive, the flip of that. Well, I can. Let me do another one. I'm in my future right now, and the birds outside are in my future. Everything is in my future. The little mess I have laying over there on my desk, that's in my future too. That paperwork, it's fine. And in my future, finances are not a concern for me. I'm very grateful. Now, this is an epic statement, and you can apply it to anything. I didn't say that A, B, C, D, E, F, G has to happen before I don't have a concern about finances. I didn't even use the word money, finances. So I didn't put a lot of things in the way for thoughts have to do, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. And if somebody will say, I want to be a real estate agent. Well, I want to be more successful as a real estate agent. Well, that means I have to get a better car and a new wardrobe. Maybe I should lose those 5 pounds. I should get my hair done. Your thoughts have to make all those things before you can have that success as a real estate agent. The thing to do is just to imagine you're in your future. You don't have to have a movie, but you can. And in that movie, you're very, very successful and you're much admired. You have plenty of business and it just flows in constantly. And you're so grateful. And that's how you do that future thing. You've done some things like that, Marianne?
Oh, I've done many things like that. In fact, your book, Manifesting 1, 2, 3, You Don't Need Number Three, has been such a great resource in being able to manifest the life that I really want. And I think for a lot of people, they make it so hard, or there are lots of tips out there that make it so difficult, but you really kind of bring it down so it's easy for people.
It really is easy. And I don't like to overcomplicate things. Um, it may be good that I don't have that Harvard degree and the white lab coat and the pens coming out of the holder in my pocket. So I do keep things very, very simple. I should also say the number two of 1, 2, 3, and you don't need number three is fear. And we touched on that. And I don't have a way of telling people, just don't think about it. If you have fear, if there's something in your life and it's just on you all the time, you're going to think about it. But let me offer a way to degrade that, to distill that, maybe even diffuse it completely. Let's say it's a job and you don't like the job you have. So you're manifesting a better job. In your future, you have a better job. And everything is right. The money is right. The commute is right. The chair is right. The desk is right. You don't have to go into all of that. It's just good, and you love this new job. I like to use the word career. It may even link into what it is you're here to do, or it feels like it is, and that's something you want to get up and have in your life every morning. So people will manifest that sort of thing, but they have doubts. They have doubts. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be smart enough. We'll come back around to that. But right now, you have a job you're not happy with. You want to change. Um, so let's take action on that ugly thing, that fear that the job isn't right, so you can't pay your bills. It's that kind of thing. All right. So let's take action on those worries. A fear, a worry, same thing. That's a negative. Let's take action. Let's do something besides just sit around and worry about it and repeat, repeat, repeat. So call a mentor, call a friend in the business, look at other jobs that are available. Can you do all this in one afternoon? No. Do what you can do, call it a day, go to bed, get a good night's sleep, get up and run those bases again and again, but take action on those fears. And you can say to yourself, I'm still worrying about this, but damn it, I did everything I can do today, and I'm just going to relax. But I'll be on the phone tomorrow. I'll be making some moves tomorrow. And that gets that fear to a diminished state that this new career, this new job you're working on, that you're manifesting every day, can get some traction. It's not entangled These thoughts will make things. So we don't want your new career entangled with these fears and doubts. I had a thing where I was very concerned about money, and I got a new mortgage. Wow, I was fabulous. And I ran up some bills on the good old credit card, and now the mortgage came due and the credit card came due. And I went, what have I done? Oh my God. I got the house, I got the bills. And I started worrying about paying for all this stuff going forward. And it was eating me up. And I know better. I know better. But good gosh, it was terrible. So I put in a call to Judy, who goes out of body every night, virtually every night. She can see those things that I'm manifesting. Well, that's nice to have somebody around that can give you that clue. And she said, "You're a good manifester, but this worry looks like a spider web on this intention not to have financial concerns. It's a spider web." And she said, "I pulled a little bit of that off, but that's not my work. I can't take on what you're here to do." So I just did that. It was basically a little demo for me. And she said, "Stop worrying about money. Don't ever worry about money again. Just keep manifesting that you have, don't say it's all right. You have it. It's not a concern." So I stopped worrying about money. Does it come up short sometimes? Uh-huh. A few times? Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. But I just keep manifesting forward, and I might say, a painting's selling right now, and something comes through. And let me also say there is money and there's equivalent of money. That woman got a new car. That was equivalent of money. The insurance company made that happen. The hail made that happen. The number three of manifesting 1, 2, 3, and you don't need it, is that we're all very, very powerful. It doesn't matter if you buy into this or not. Our true essence is very, very powerful. And part of our gift in this life is that, and has been proofed out over and over, is that what you're thinking is being created. Let that sink in. I like what Galileo said. All truths are easy to understand once they're discovered. And what I just said was essentially a key to the kingdom. Your thoughts create form, and they create solid things, or they create things like happiness, health, goodwill, all those sort of things. I had someone who I could just say he dabbled in this, a businessman. He handled other people's money, and people are very picky about large amounts of money, and it put a lot of pressure on him. One day he called me a little too early in the morning, and he said, "Ken, I don't know what happened. I woke up with this. I don't have that kind of stress anymore. I'm like 3 levels up from that stress. I don't know what happened, but it's something I was working on." And he said, and he said this, and other people said the same thing, like it was the same script. "I know it's permanent." And that shocked me because somebody already told me that. Happiness. She woke up happy. She said, "I haven't been this happy since high school. What happened?" I said, "Well, it was in your field that you had a good life going forward. You may or may not have specified happiness, but that's part of it." And she said, I know it's permanent. It changed her. So it is powerful. And because of that, it made me rethink something. There is the beautiful phrase about manifesting, very popular movie, books, and what's the term that they use?
I think they use thoughts or things.
No, no,
Not
it's
that
not that
one?
one. No. Oh, well, it's gonna come back to me. I'm lost in all these other people's stories. But what I learned from that, um, well, the books were indicating that you're gonna bring it to you. You're gonna bring it to you. What I'm saying is your thoughts are creating it. And, we're not waiting for it to arrive on the porch by, UPS or something like that. These people woke up with an internal change. They didn't manifest things and then wait for it to happen. It happened in the middle of the night when they were in their jammies, which is very different from some of the other aspects. But I'm all about anyone who's making wish lists or prayers, all sorts of things. All of these intentions religious based or not, are creating form. So on this number three, we're very powerful. We don't need it. We have been, we are born with a gift to think of things, and if you repeat them and put love behind them, it will start creating it. And they're more than just Judy Goodman can see this thing taking form. So that's it in a nutshell. And let's go out and make something good for ourselves.
I love hearing how people are making not just art sell, because you do that all the time. We've played that game together, and you've had art sell like that day or the next day. So we've done that quite a bit. Like, Ken's going to sell art, and you do. But also to have these profound experiences where they're changing how they're feeling about life. The worry's gone, they're
Hmm.
happy. I mean,
Hmm.
that a lot of times that's more valuable than money.
Well, yes, yes. Um, money pays for things. We set up our society that way. It's interesting that it runs that way, but it's really running off of love or fear. And if I can do anything, I'm certainly the Johnny Appleseed of manifesting. But lately, and there's no need to get political about this. We need. Listen to me. I'm doing a lecture. Um, it's my wish for everyone to have uh, a central way, some this is one thing that religion is very good for. They teach you right or wrong, and to have some central lamppost, flagpole, whatever it is that you can center yourself on and go, well, that's not right, or this is a good thing, and do that yourself and put it out into the world. We have a lot of chaos and this and that in the world right now, and I think our part, at least one on one, my voice to your voice, your show to one other voice, or when you meet somebody in the street, well, you don't meet people in the street and talk about these things, but be the good example. That's all. Simple as that. And let's talk about equity and just good behavior and pass it on.
Yeah, really dive into what it means to be kind to our neighbor, to really show that kindness and that love to the people that we share this planet with.
Yes, yes, yes. And you can manifest things on the large scale. How many prayers are going up every second for a healing, all sorts of healing on a larger level, community, national, global? Those prayers do, they do take form. Something is happening, but there's opposing thoughts as well. So um, we can entangle these good thoughts with these negative thoughts. So yeah, let's just stay on the bright side of life. That's coming right out of a Monty Python movie.
That's too funny. Well, I know you're such a well-known artist. Your art is just astounding. It's very powerful pieces, and I love. In fact, I've got many of your pieces in my home. Where can people go to learn more about your art and also your manifesting book?
Well, the manifesting is on the web at manifesting123.com. And there you'll see a lot of information repeating what I have said. And there's a lot of other interviews, longer lasting, where I relay some other stories. But the book is, it will really set the hook, so to speak, and that it's full of stories. The book is really designed around other people's stories. And I give the philosophies or the ways to do this. Um, and again, I can't, it's just so simple. It's just amazingly simple, but it does get results. And my artwork is on Ken Elliott, KenElliott.com. And there you'll see uh, reproductions of my work. And I do, paintings and prints and all the associated propaganda that goes with that.
How many manifesting stories have you collected so far? Because I know people use the Manifesting 123 book and have such great experiences. They're writing in about their experiences.
Mhm. Over 400. And on the manifesting123.com website, you can go through those stories. I forgot to mention that, so thank you for bringing that up. Um, if you're on the computer, you can search stories, one word, two word searches, and everything you can think of is in there. And there's big stories and there are whopper stories. And I love it when people call me and say, well, this isn't a very big deal. Well, I think it's a pretty big deal because something was made out of nothing. And then there's those other stories where people say, um, you might want to sit down for this one. And I do, and we just scream at each other like teenage girls because it's so outrageous that this thing would happen, and they set it up. So I just love that.
Remember that one time I was visiting and you had a lady call you and you put her on speakerphone and she was talking about how she was becoming legally blind and
Oh,
she
yes.
started doing the manifesting. Can you share that one with us?
Okay. She finished an art class, and after it was done, she came to me and said, I need to talk to you about manifesting. I have glaucoma, and it's degenerative, and I don't want to go blind. And it's fine where it is right now. But, it's I have, corrective lenses and things a little blurry, but I can paint. So I'm very concerned about that. What should I do? And immediately, as I did the first part of the show, I just flashed on this thing. I'm out of reach here. This is not my pay grade. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about this disease. But I said, the only thing I know to do is that in your future, you don't have that. Glaucoma is not a concern. Just stay with that. And she called me, oh, 6 months later or so. She had a 6-month checkup routine. So after going to her doctor for the glaucoma checkup to see how far it's degraded, the doctor said, well, I don't see any signs of glaucoma. I want you to get, um, I want you to go to another doctor and get a second opinion, which she did. And the doctor didn't see any signs of glaucoma. So she called me about that. And I thought, oh my God, I was elated. But there's another part of me saying, okay, well, it had nothing to do with me.
Mhm.
This information is not mine. It was passed on to me, demonstrated to me. I'm not the grand hoobah of manifesting. I'm just relating my experience and experiences of many other people. Now, to follow up on that, that same year I was in Kansas City. I taught a class. Um, it was the first or second night. I'm staying with a couple who arranged for me to be there, and I needed some canvases. So the husband was allotted to take me to the art supply store. It was dark. I don't know him. His wife had told him that I probably had written a book about manifesting or something. But at any rate, he's just driving along. Yes, he did know about that, and he said, "Well, tell me about the manifesting." I said, "Well, I'll give you a story," and I told him that story. So I'm glad he brought it up. And he said, "Why did you tell me that story, driving in the dark?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. At the time, I probably had over 200 or so." And he said, "Well, I have glaucoma. What should I do?" And I said, "Well, do what she did. In your future, glaucoma is not an issue, and just say that every day. And you're so grateful. I have to. I don't think I mentioned that on the first round of this. You're so grateful that the glaucoma is gone, or it's in a place where you're perfectly comfortable with it. We're not asking for mountains to be moved, but we want it to be good for you, and you're happy with your outcome. So glaucoma is not a concern." And I didn't hear back. I called back, oh, close to a year later and talked to his wife. Said, "How's your husband doing it?" People ask about that story every once in a while. He said he doesn't have that glaucoma problem. It's sort of stuck in place. Now, for that first story, I wanted to put it on the web, so I immediately went to the best source I could to check this stuff out, the National Glaucoma Society.com, whatever they're called. And you don't have to go very far down the page. And in big letters, it said, glaucoma is not curable. So I ran the
Wow.
story anyway, and I provided that link to the Glaucoma Institute or whatever they're called. So that really got my attention. That was a bit out of the box, and that's one of the biggest stories.
Well, I remember being there and that lady calling, and
Hmm.
she was crying. She's relaying the story and how things have been. I started to cry. I don't know you did because you're pretty stoic, but so we were, just there, and it was such an emotional moment hearing her story about regaining her eyesight the way she had. What a remarkable thing. And I love how it just demonstrates how manifesting can be so easy
Yes.
for us. We don't have to make it this really big hard thing, and you just never know what's going to come out of it. It sounds really positive that people are using this and getting very positive results.
Hmm. Hmm. And I'm all for, again, repeating myself, I'm all for anyone putting out positive thoughts, prayers, or writing things down, vision boards, wish lists. There's piles of books about manifesting. It's filled with good information. The difference with this book is, and I'll use an analogy that has worked for me before. Um, there's a light switch on your wall. We don't have to petition that light switch. We don't need the sticky notes. We don't have to dress up. We don't have to do whatever it is and approach that light switch with the hope that we have increased the odds that when we hit that switch, the lights will come on. What I'm saying here is what has been shown to me is that that light switch is hooked up to a power plant somewhere. And when you hit that switch, you're going to get a result every time. So just say that beautiful thought you have, repeat it, always put gratitude with it, and expect a result. And it may come in ways not in the time you want, not in the way you want, but it will quack, it will sniff, it will look like that result. And sometimes they'll get that phone call. You're not going to believe what just happened. That's my favorite kind of call to get. Well, try me, and then the fun begins.
Well, Ken, you're such an inspiration in my life, and I'm so glad that we've had time to talk today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us.
You're one of the most special people in the world, Marianne, and I'm just thrilled and privileged to have you as a friend. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, thank you so much, Ken. You are such an inspiration in my life. And make sure to visit Ken's art website at kenelliott.com. There you can look at his prints that he has available and original pieces of art. All are extremely powerful. And to learn more about his manifesting, visit manifesting123.com. There you can read the hundreds of stories that are available from people who have been using Manifesting 123 and have written in. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.